Hey Taurus, I'm Daniel Redwolf and welcome to my channel. For those of you who are not new to my channel, welcome back. And for those of you who are new, like I said, welcome. These are general readings for July 2023, so they may not resonate with everybody. I hope they do. I always say take whatever resonates with you and whatever doesn't, throw it on the back burner because it might come up later. And if it resonates with you, definitely like, share, subscribe. And if you want to go ahead and work with me and get a personal reading, follow the link below to my scheduling page. And I do have a couple slots open, and then you can use one of the promo codes to get a discount. So, um, what is July 2023 coming with? So I'll start pulling 8 cards and then we'll get some clarifiers and kind of go from there. So 7 of Swords coming through, the Star card, uh, 5 of Cups, the Chariot card, the 2 of Swords, Ace of Cups, the Emperor card, and the 2 of Cups. So right off the bat, there is definitely something that's going on. I feel like there is definitely some type of jealousy, some type of, especially with the 7 of Swords, there is definitely some type of jealousy. There's something happening. I also get that with the Star card. Every time I see the Star card, it could also mean that there's jealousy coming through, or that you got to start beginning to trust your intuition to know what's happening. To kind of, you might trust your intuition and finally get that hunch of something's happening here. Again, it could be that there is an affair happening with someone that you're with or something, or you might be interested in someone who's a married person and stuff like that. So, or you might be with someone who's a married person, right? So again, or someone who's married wants to connect with you. So again, there is definitely some type of jealousy going to be happening during the month of July. And especially with that one being the number 7, the number 7 of Swords, it's also one of those things where it's like, hey, it's gonna be an impact. It's gonna definitely be an impact with you. For a couple of y'all, I feel like there is definitely some shift going to happen where there is going to be something where it's not going to be pleasant, especially with the 5 of Cups right there. She's focused so much on the broken cups, on the cups, on the garden right there. It's about knowing that, hey, stuff happens and you got to be able to move forward. So it could be that maybe a project didn't go as planned, or something didn't work out exactly as you thought it was going to work out. So again, it's being able to just say, hey, it didn't work out this time. I got to be able to move forward. I got to let it go and step into that, right? So as soon as you go through that problem during the month of July, try not to marinate in it. Try not to stay focused on it. Really just trust your intuition and quickly move on, especially with the Chariot card. The Chariot card says, hey, you got to move. You got to move quickly. It's one of those things where it didn't work out. Move on, change the recipe, right? So something didn't work out, right? It's about, you're making a cake. You got to change the recipe. You can't just do it the same again in a different order. You have to change something within whatever the project is. This also could be that there might be, for a couple of you, I feel like there might be something within the home, that there is going to be a repair that needs to be done, that it's going to be unexpected. It's going to come very quickly. It's going to be like, holy shit, my water heater died, or my washer died, or something's happening, or even with like your form of transportation. So pay attention to all of those things during the month of July, because it might catch you off guard to the point where it's gonna throw you completely off, especially towards the second week of the month. I feel like that is really where it's going to take off. Ultimately, I feel like there is definitely, in terms of relationships, there is definitely one of those things where you're battling with someone. There is something. If you're in a partnership, there's going to be a fight. There's going to be some argument, and I really feel like it might be just both your egos coming in instead of so I feel like during the month of July, it's saying, hey, this is what's bothering me. This is how I feel. These are the stories I'm telling myself based on what's going on. Again, it's being open, having the open line of communication, having that thing going on. Because again, I feel like it's jealousy going to be coming through, especially when it comes to family. So I don't know if there's going to be some family dynamic with your partner's family or your family. So there's definitely something that I feel like is going to definitely move you to the state of wanting to smack each other upside the head. So in terms of those of you who are single, there's definitely stuff happening because you have the Two of Cups and then you have the Ace of Cups. There is definitely new love, new stuff happening during the month of July. There is a new partnership. For a couple of y'all, I feel like if you have been single, it's really you've been dealing with your battles. You've been focusing on someone that who has been taken, someone who maybe you had something with and now they're with someone else. So again, it's you're still focused on that person from the past and you're battling with that one, and that's what's not allowing you to move to that state, to the move to that place where you can start opening yourself up to someone completely different. So again, trusting your intuition, coming back to yourself and allowing yourself to just say, hey, it's time for me to move forward. It's time for me to move on. It's time for me to just say, hey, shit happened. That didn't work out. It was great when we were friends or whatever. It's time for me to move. And again, it could be that maybe this person was a fire sign, right? But as well, I feel like there's definitely a new person coming in, there's a strong energy coming in. So it's a new individual is going to be coming into your life where you're going to be able to connect with this person. And ultimately, it can definitely feel it's going to lead into a spiritual partnership where I can see it long term, right? I'm not a fan of soulmates. I'm not a fan of that or twin flames or any of that. It is your spiritual partnership, and I feel like it can definitely be long term. As long as you guys are willing to be vulnerable and open and honest with each other. I really feel like honesty is going to be your biggest strength. It has to be the thing that's going to make the relationship is going to be a strength in the relationship. So being honest with each other as soon as you start getting to know each other and saying, "Hey, let's put everything out there," right? And sometimes people are just like, "Hey, that's not for me," right? So at that moment you're just like, "Okay, that's not for you, so I got to move on. We're just not the right person." So being able to just be honest with yourself, being honest with them and saying, ask for what you need, ask for what bothers you, right? And ultimately I really feel like that's going to be the most important thing. So you're not living in resentment. And I really feel like that's ultimately guidance for everybody ultimately, because a lot of times we don't want to ask for what you need and we will stay in resentment. So again, it's the relationship, whatever you're focused on when it comes to the past, it's really one of those things where you are having to focus on moving into the new space. And here, the star card, the moon card's coming in. Again, focus on the betrayal, focus on anybody maybe being deceitful, right? Or there's going to be something where maybe they're not deceitful, but again, like I said, there's going to be a conflict of some sort, especially during the month. Then you have the Page of Cups. Again, it's something during the month of July is going to catch you off guard. Again, I really feel like it can definitely be a repair in your house. It can be a repair in terms of your car. Something is happening that is going to throw you completely off. So be prepared. Pay attention to your finances and with the Knight of Cups. So again, you're focused on it. You're focused on that. Focus on during, especially as much as you can during the month of July, to start. They keep saying start putting like an emergency fund, even if it's like $500. Whatever you can do to just keep some money in there available would be great. Even if you have just have a credit card that you might end up having to use, right? So it might be that there's a credit card that has certain amount of limit that you have, but that might be there to support you if you need an emergency. However, for me personally, I like to make sure that I have the cash available, and then I end up paying with the credit card and then just paying that credit card off just to get the points, right? So whatever works for you in your financial situation, but I feel like start having something available because you're going to need it at some point during the month of July. And again, it's going to be nice to have for the rest of the year and moving forward, right? Because again, you just don't know what's going to happen. So I feel like this is definitely going to be an opportunity. Some of you, I feel like you might be stepping into making a little bit more money. I don't know, maybe I'm getting like a sense of Uber, delivery, something where you are going to be driving to make a little bit extra money. And that's going to start during the month of July. So again, it could be the money that you make to start having an emergency fund and eventually use that to travel or to whatever in additional expenses that you might have. But again, it's start trying to see if you can get an emergency fund going because you're going to be needing it. So for those of you who are coupled, I feel like there is definitely going to be something where you might be traveling to an engagement, you might be getting engaged, something's happening during the month of July. there where there is love's going to be happening. Um, for a couple of y'all, I feel like there is definitely going to be a birth of a child or a birth of something like a baby type of thing, where it's maybe you're giving birth to a business, you're finally launching the business, you're finally writing the book that you need been wanting to write. You're starting your podcast, you're starting your blog, whatever it may be. You're starting a business, whatever it may be. But again, it's giving the birth to something that's going to ultimately be your baby. It doesn't have to be a physical baby, or it doesn't have to be that you're getting a pet, right? That could definitely be some type of thing, some type of message that for some people that you might be adding a pet or have a physical being coming into play like a child. But again, it's about being able to say, hey, stuff's going to happen. I've got to start trusting my intuition, because I feel like money has definitely been in your mind and it's probably been keeping you up at night. So you're trying to see, how can I get extra money? Again, it might be that you're doing a side hustle. So move yourself into your out of your head and down to your heart, because that's ultimately what's going to start happening. That's what's going to start moving into it. Then you have, where is it? Six of Swords. The Six of Swords right here. The Six of Swords, this means, again, it's going to be, you're going to have to walk away from a lot of your thoughts. You're going to have to really isolate. You're going to have to move yourself into that space. And I also see that with the Two of Wands. You're, again, once you isolate from all the drama from the family, whatever it is. And I screwed up my cards. I screwed up my cards. They are upside down and all around. But so you might have to step into your own isolation to be able to move into that state of creativity. Because the moment you do that, again, transformation, partnerships, again, family is going to start expanding. You're going to finally start expanding your business. You're going to finally start getting more money coming through. So it's definitely going to be the month of expansion if you're willing to be uncomfortable, right? One of the biggest guidance that I've always received was your conviction and your convenience do not live in the same zip code. You got to be willing to be inconvenienced. There are times when, for me, it's like, I know I'm like tired or whatever, but it's like, hey, you know what? I got to be willing to push myself. I know when it's time to inhale and I know when it's time to exhale, right? Um, so there are times where I'm just like, hey, I need to put my boundaries up. I need to not do as many classes. I need to not do as many ceremonies and stuff like that, right? And that's what I do, where I need to put myself first, right? And there are times when it's like, okay, you know what? I got to hustle. I got to really push myself to move, right? I got to start allowing myself to get as much done as possible, right? Everybody wants me to go everywhere, right? I have invitations to Ireland, Texas, Phoenix, California, and Colorado. So all these places where I know I have to be traveling to, and but there are times where I have to just hustle. I'm like travel and travel, travel. And there are times where I'm just like, hey, I'm taking a month off. I'm taking time off, right? So again, it's being willing to hustle at some point or at the beginning or whatever it may be to get what you need to get a cushion in terms of money, or maybe get a increase because you want to start getting a down payment for a house, whatever it may be. You're gonna have to be willing to be inconvenienced for a little bit, do something that's maybe uncomfortable. Like I said, maybe you might start driving, delivering pizzas, doing Uber, whatever it may be, right? DoorDash. But it's going to be definitely moving into that state. Some of you might be starting a hobby where it's going to be you finally selling something that you have, or maybe you're going to be starting to sell stuff online that you don't use, that you haven't used for a long time. But using what, and if you are starting your using your talents and selling stuff, go ahead and move that to that space, right? And then your message from your ancestors is connect with water. So connecting with water, for those of you, especially as earth elements, really connect to our mother earth. Really allow yourself to move into that space of connecting with water. That's a really good way to detox, right? For me, especially if I jump into the ocean or, right, the Gulf of Mexico, it is like, I feel like I'm getting everything sucked out of me. So again, connecting with water, that's going to be really your way of trusting your intuition, of getting the messages that you need to, right? It could also be that maybe, again, you're trying to save some money and you're planning, or you are traveling during the month of July and you're going to go to some place where there's water, maybe an ocean, a lake. Take some time to actually go out there. I feel like that is a place where you can just go out there and think. You don't have to take your journal or anything. Just go out there and just think. Just be quiet. Just be with yourself and stuff like that. And you're going to notice that's going to start to allow yourself to move into that state, and your creativity is going to finally start moving. You might feel like, oh my God, I'm so bored, but boredom leads to creativity. So, Taurus, hopefully that resonated with you. I'm excited for you during the month. Again, if it resonated with you, let me know how it did resonate with you in the comments below. And if you want a session with me, feel free to follow my link below to go to my website or directly to my scheduling page and take advantage of the promo code if you definitely need help. Reach out. I look forward to seeing you all in August. Take care, Taurus. Bye.